A deadly sickness is sweeping through your town, and no one knows what's causing it or how to stop it. The year is 1348, and the pestilence has just reached your street. By the time it leaves, half the people you know may be gone. You have weeks, maybe days, before it finds your door. Stay with me, and by the end, you'll know what it really took to survive the Black Death, and the one mistake that doomed almost everyone who caught it. The first threat isn't the disease itself, it's how fast it moves through crowded, filthy medieval streets. Your best early defense is simple: distance, clean water, and getting out of town before the sickness settles in. But there's a deadlier danger coming, and it isn't the rats you've been warned about. You wake before dawn to the sound of church bells, and there are too many of them. Bells for the dead, ringing from every parish, blurring into one long, low warning. Outside your shutters, the streets smell of smoke, vinegar, and something worse underneath. A neighbor's being carried out on a plank, his family standing back, silent, afraid to touch him. You've heard the whispers for weeks, a plague from the east, moving faster than any messenger. Now it's here, in your town, in your lane, maybe already in your lungs. You have a choice to make before the sun is fully up, and every hour you wait, the odds get worse. Most people in your town will make the same fatal mistake in the next few days. They'll stay, and they'll gather, and they'll pray in tight, crowded rooms. That is exactly where the sickness spreads fastest. The Black Death isn't one illness. It's a bacterium, carried by fleas, that hits the human body in 3 brutal forms. You don't get to choose which one finds you. The first form swells the lymph nodes into hard, painful lumps in the neck, armpits, and groin. This is the bubonic form, and it's the one history remembers. The second form goes for the blood, turning the skin dark in patches. The third form settles in the lungs, and that one spreads on a single cough. Fleas from black rats carry the bacteria into homes, markets, and grain stores. The rats die first, and when they do, the fleas jump to the next warm body they can find. That warm body is often yours, and in a medieval town, the fleas don't have far to travel. So what actually keeps you alive? Not prayer, not amulets, not the strange masks doctors will soon start to wear. Your best chance is to leave, quickly, quietly, and toward open country before the town gates are shut and the roads are watched. But leaving has its own dangers. Bandits work the empty roads, and other villages will turn you away with pitchforks the moment they see a stranger. You pack light, bread, a water skin, a blade, a cloak. You avoid the market square, where the crowds are thickest and the sickness is already circling. Here's the mistake that kills most people. They wait. They wait for a sign, for permission, for someone in charge to tell them what to do. By the time the town leaders act, the sickness is in every street, and leaving only carries it with you to somewhere new. You'd feel it first in your chest, not the illness, the fear, a tightness, a quickening, the animal knowledge that something is very wrong. Push through it. Panic in a plague town is its own killer. It sends people into crowds, into churches, into the arms of the dying. You slip out at first light, keeping to the edges of the road, avoiding anyone who coughs, anyone who stumbles, anyone with a rag pressed to their face. A cart passes, piled with shapes covered in cloth. You don't look. Looking doesn't help you survive. What would you do here? Press on toward the countryside, or double back for family you left behind? Tell me before you see how it plays out. By nightfall, you reach a farmhouse, abandoned, its doors swinging open. This is your first real shelter, and your first real test. You check the corners for dead rats. If they're there, the fleas are still there too, waiting for something warm. You sleep on the roof beam, above the floor, above the straw, above anything a flea can climb. Small choices like this are what separate the living from the dead. By morning, the real danger has shifted. It isn't only the sickness now, it's other people. Word travels faster than plague on some roads. Whole villages have started blaming outsiders, foreigners, anyone who looks like they carried it in. You keep your accent quiet, your hood up, and your story simple. A traveler heading home, nothing more. You trade a coin for milk at a farm gate, never stepping inside, never touching a woman's hand. She does the same. Everyone has learned this dance quickly. Here's a fact that reframes the whole moment. Some of the safest people in this era are the ones who live alone, far from roads, with their own water and few visitors. Isolation in 1348 is medicine. It's the closest thing to a cure anyone has. But isolation has a cost. No news, no help if you fall, no one to bury you if the sickness finds you anyway. Days pass. You ration bread. You boil water without knowing why it helps, only that the old shepherd who taught you swore by it. Then one morning, you notice a hard, tender lump under your arm. Your breath catches. The world narrows. This is the deadliest moment of your journey. Not the road, not the bandits. This. Most people feeling that lump would panic, run for a town, a doctor, a crowd. That instinct is the one that finishes them. The truth is grim and simple. In 1348, there was no cure. No antibiotic, no hospital, only rest, water, warmth, and time. A real fraction of people do survive the bubonic form, especially the young and strong, if the fever breaks and the swelling drains on its own. So you stay put, you drink, you sleep, you keep the fire low and the door barred. You wait out the worst days of your life in a stranger's farmhouse. The fever climbs. Your dreams go strange. You lose track of whether it's morning or evening, and the bells from the nearest village blur into the wind. And then, on the fourth or fifth day, you wake up cooler, weaker than you've ever been, but cooler. The lump is still there, but the fire in your blood is quieted. You've done something that most in your town did not. You've bought yourself another week. Now comes the long part of survival that history books skip, the aftermath. You return to a place that is not the place you left. Empty houses, fields with no one to work them, a silence where markets used to be. The Black Death will keep coming back in waves for centuries. Anyone who lived through 1348 learned to watch for the signs: swollen glands, sudden fever, dead rats in the grain. So, what actually determined who lived and who died? Three things mostly. Distance from crowds, clean water and food you controlled, and the sheer unfair luck of which form of the disease found you, if it found you at all. Everything else, the amulets, the prayers, the strange remedies, the bird-beaked masks that came later, was people trying to feel less powerless in the face of something they didn't yet understand. Would you have made it? Would you have left in time or waited one day too long? If this one got to you, the scenario on surviving the 1918 flu pandemic is even more brutal. Different century, same terrible math, and choices that come at you even faster. Subscribe and turn on notifications. New survival scenarios drop every week, and the next one puts you somewhere you really don't want to be. In 1348, the ones who lived weren't the strongest or the holiest. They were the ones who moved early, stayed apart, and refused to panic when the bell started ringing. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only, a what-if scenario, not survival, medical, or safety advice. Never attempt anything shown here.